Hello, everybody. Welcome to your weather forecast. My name is Mr. G. I am your meteorologist. Well, you made it through Monday, so let's talk about the upcoming Tuesday. And let's look at our first map here, as we're going to be talking about that pattern that we're seeing across the country right now. This is not necessarily a great pattern because it really locks up the weather pattern out there. So we're stuck in this cold and dreary and wet pattern in the Northeast and through the Great Lakes. And then we have another area of some wet weather across the Pacific, but we have very nice weather in the nation's midsection. I don't think folks in the central northern plains and the southern plains, so if you're in the plain states, I don't think you're going to complain about the weather this week. But if you're on the West Coast and the East Coast, it's not going to be the greatest weather. We're not looking at a lot of severe weather this week, but we are going to keep things a little bit dreary and wet in the Northeast. Still some snow up there across the upper Mississippi River Valley. So if you're in northern Minnesota, the Arrowhead, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, northern Wisconsin, we're still dealing with a bit of snow, but we are stuck in this pattern as we have that area of low pressure over the Northeast that's going to be staying there for the next several days with that rain and snow. And we're going to be seeing another storm system on the West Coast that's going to produce mostly rain showers, as this one is not as cold, so we're going to still see those temperatures stay fairly mild across the West Coast, but it is going to be a little bit chilly. So as we take a look at what we're going to be seeing as far as the impacts of our Omega block on the Northeast and the Great Lakes, we're seeing that snow up here across the northern Great Lakes there. So Michigan, Wisconsin, and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, we're seeing those snow showers. But if you're in the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, and New England, we're seeing those rain showers and those temperatures that are going to be in the 40s, and we're going to be seeing those temperatures in the 30s over much of the Great Lakes as we work our way into the middle of the week. Then on the West Coast, going to be a bit chilly through parts of Central California and in Southern California. Not too bad, all things considered, over the Northwest, as those temperatures will be in the 60s and 70s. But we're going to see a little bit more of a cooler impact down across Southern and Central and Southern California. But as we take a look at the Midwest, pretty nice temperatures, going to be in the 70s and 80s over the next several days. So we're going to be seeing things warm up across the central and southern plains. Going to get a bit more mild across the northern plains and the high plains, so it won't be too bad. So if you're on the leeward side of the Rockies and the central and northern plains, we're going to be seeing temperatures quite comfortable out there, a little bit on the warm side. Now, as we take a look at our surface map and Doppler radar this evening, we have a lot of wet weather in the Northeast and the Great Lakes. So we're seeing some snow up here through Wisconsin and Michigan, but we're seeing a lot of rain through parts of the upper Midwest. So through Illinois, Indiana, the Ohio Valley, through Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, we are seeing some rain showers over in that way at this time. It's mostly dry on the West Coast, so that's some good news there. But here is our current temperatures across the country. We're seeing it very nice along the Gulf Coast. Those temperatures in the 70s and 80s and down into Florida. We're also seeing those temperatures in the low to mid 90s across the desert Southwest. We're seeing very nice temperatures in the 70s and 80s across the northern Rockies, northern plains, and across the Pacific Northwest. But it's still really cold as the dickens out there across the Great Lakes. So if you're in Wisconsin and Michigan, you can't shake those 30s right now. We're looking at those temperatures in the lower 30s across mostly Wisconsin, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, the Arrowhead of Minnesota, but the Twin Cities is not too bad. We're seeing those temperatures in the mid 50s. It's right on the cusp of where that cooler air and a little bit more mild air is to the west. We will see that milder air work its way in, shift to the east a little bit. So as the days move through the week, we're going to see it warm up a little bit across the Twin Cities So that is some good news for the folks in Minnesota. And as we take a look at our forecast for tomorrow morning, mostly dry across the central part of the country and most of the west. We are going to be seeing a few rain showers here in California. So central and northern California will see some rain showers. A little bit of snow over the mountains of northern California as well. So not a whole lot of rain, but we are going to be seeing a system out there produce those rain showers. And we're going to be seeing snow and rain showers mixed here through the Great Lakes and parts of the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast as that wet weather and that cool weather continues across the Northeast in the morning. So as you head out to school and work, don't forget those umbrellas. You're not going to see a lot of snow as far as Pennsylvania and Ohio and Wisconsin is concerned, but north of this trough here, we're going to be seeing much heavier snow that could be plowable snow. But you're going to see a cooler influence here coming from the north and through the southeast, so it's going to be a little bit cooler than average over the southeastern United States. That trend is going to continue into the afternoon hours, but our precipitation is going to shift a little bit to the east as we get a little bit of movement from that storm system over in that area. So we're going to be seeing it dry out from Minnesota through Wisconsin. We're going to see things kind of taper off as far as this snow, but we're going to continue to see those rain showers through the Ohio Valley and through Pennsylvania and upstate New York. But on the West Coast, we're going to be seeing that Pacific storm come a little bit further on shore in the afternoon. So we're going to be seeing those showers spread from central California to the California and Oregon border. So going to be seeing some wet weather out on the West Coast for the most part. But the rest of the western half of the United States are going to be dry for your Tuesday afternoon. But in the evening hours, we're going to still see that rain along the West Coast here as we have those showers. Maybe some thunder in there as well. And in the west, on the East Coast, we're going to be seeing our storm shift a little bit further to the east. So now parts of Michigan, western Michigan starts to dry out and things will settle down, and that wet weather will shift to the eastern end of the Ohio Valley and into cold country of Pennsylvania as well as into upstate New York. So we might see a little bit of snow over parts of New York here near Buffalo. So Buffalo, New York, as well as through Watertown, we can see a little bit of snow. If you're on Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, may be a little bit of a lake effect for you folks out there. So again, that wet weather and chilly weather is going to continue into the evening hours across much of the eastern half of the United States. Here's a look at your Tuesday from coast to coast. Cold air will continue in the Northeast and the Great Lakes. Nice and warm along the Gulf Coast, maybe some showers along the immediate Gulf Coast, but it's going to be warm and mostly dry. Very nice weather across the central and northern plains. We're going to be seeing those temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Going to sprinkle some 80s in there as well. Further down to the south across the southern plains. And on the west coast, we're going to be dealing with some rain showers into central California, but very nice temperatures in those 60s and 70s. We're going to be seeing our 80s and 90s down across the southwestern deserts of Arizona and into California as well. So that is your Tuesday weather forecast. My name is Mr. G, your meteorologist. I would appreciate you guys if you leave a like, feel free to comment, subscribe on YouTube, leave a follow on TikTok. Bye-bye. We'll see you all tomorrow.